What's going on? It's your man Terrence J, and welcome to another edition of Toxic is the New Masculinity. To my right, I got my man KY. To my left, I got my man Bossy. Listen, Toxic is the New Masculinity is just a show to let you know that just because we think like men does not mean that we are toxic. So we're just playing up on the word, but we're really not toxic, man. We just have our own way of thinking, and a lot of times, unfortunately, we get the bad disclaimer that everything is toxic masculinity. No, some stuff is just we're thinking like men think, and I think so many times this world has tried to take us and merge us and make everybody one, and we're not. There are two different sexes on this earth. There are female and there are males. We just happen to be males and we think like males. So we want to dismiss that whole misnomer, man, and let everybody know, listen, everything we talk about is not toxic. So the conversation we wanted to get into tonight was, if you think about it, when you see a lot of the young ladies get ready to go through their puberty change, there's a celebration, there's a acknowledgement by the women, by the mothers, the aunts, the grandmother, that this young girl has started to step into womanhood. My question is, do we have anything like that for men to show that, hey, you are now stepping out of being a boy and into manhood?
You really want me to touch on that?
No.
You really want me to touch on that?
You hold that one.
The answer is no. No, we don't. I mean, it's plain and simple. We don't. And it's because, like, when a woman meets puberty, right? Like the point where she's able to have children, you know, it's obvious. It's aware. She has her first cycle. There's evidence. What I'm saying,
right?
With us, we could, if I can make it real, we can all remember the first time we had an ejaculation. You can remember that, but they don't say at 12 you know you're able to do that. You know what I mean? There's no point in our lives where we know this is the day that yesterday I was shooting blanks. Today, I'm daddy material today. It's not like that. You know, it doesn't happen.
In the room, mama, hey, I just busted a nut.
No, you don't.
We don't.
And you know what? And the funny thing about that, you think about, when you talk about the wet dreams, usually it's like, yo, get these sheets out the bed, get the new sheets out the bed.
Right.
Whereas you can't hide it with a girl.
Exactly.
With a boy, like, if you know where the sheets is, you can change that sheets and be like, hey, well, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't go to mama and be like, hey.
Hey, bro, you hit on something that was crazy. Your first wet dream.
Hey, listen.
Hey, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. Look, and we real about it, right? Because we don't have that introduction celebration. When it happens, you're like, okay, what the hell just happened?
One minute I was dreaming about something real good, all of a sudden I wake up, what the hell just happened?
No. Look, I'm taking a step further. In some case, you be like, damn, I was dreaming, did I pee?
I pee on myself?
Yeah. This is exactly the point.
You go on that show tonight.
And then at some point, like you know, with girls, she hasn't had, but they're relatively young. As men, we assume, literally, I think, as dads, fathers, brothers, we assume, okay, at 16, you there.
Yeah.
You could have been there at 12, there's no evidence.
16,
by 16, yeah.
Well, I mean,
And I'm going to tell you something. That question ain't ever coming. Son, have you had a wet dream yet? That question ain't been asked by daddy.
No, the question is, Uncle Pete, hey, man, you hit yet?
That will be the question.
Then the next question, no, you ain't gay, are you? That's the second question.
That's the question you're going to get asked.
The third question is, what's the problem?
Listen, no, boss.
Look, I got you with the heavy hit, and I got you with the problem. When the gay part coming out?
If you haven't did it, the uncles will be asking you that question.
Oh, that's where you go. Okay,
the uncle. I'm talking about the uncle.
I got you. You said if the answer is no, then it's okay.
Because you threw me, son.
You threw me off with that.
What's going on?
Yeah, that will be the question that you're gonna get asked within your family.
Right.
And then what you say with the third question is what?
The third question is,
what you say? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
What's wrong?
What's wrong with you? Hey, you good? Everything working?
So to frame that whole thing, there is nothing that we have that's any type of acknowledgement or celebration or just to have a timestamp to say, hey, at this point there are different things that you should be entering into as far as mentality, mindset, things like that.
Now, does this
It's
take
kinda
place
just
in the African American community?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it takes place really
I don't
anywhere when
think
it
it's
comes to
reg-
males.
Yeah, I think it's men in general. Man. I don't think any.
Well, no, I'm talking about for women, like this, because I was the only child, so I didn't grow up with no sisters.
Yeah.
That's why you were asking about that question earlier.
Right.
Yeah, no, well, definitely. Well, I say,
more
yeah.
in today's time too.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually on twofold, right? Twofold. I had a sister, and she ain't died. I still got her, but I have a sister.
Shout out to his sister, still living. Watching.
Look, she probably like, damn. But I do remember the recurring story in the family when it, like my mom talking about when it happened. Like I do remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember the actual event, but it was probably somewhere in my 20s. You sitting around the family, they start telling the story. I do remember the story of it happening, and I do remember my mom. It was like my sister was prepped for it, if you can be prepped for it. And tell her, hey, you're gone, and everything like that. Yeah. I mean, because I put it out there. A conversation me and T would have one time is like, my little girl is 10, and there was a point in time, right, where her chest looked like mine. And then a passage of time happened, and now it don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I'm asking, where those come from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, again, to that same point, listen, I'm be real. I don't have no boys, but I had a pop. I had a dude for a pop, right? And I know he wasn't checking the shorts like, yo, where you at? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So we don't do that. You get hey, we know hair on your chest don't mean that you know what I mean? You sprouting, but you ain't sprouting. You know what I'm saying? So again, the evidence of our maturity, for lack of better, is just not there to cause us to have. I mean, Frank, when it happened with me, we never had to talk, but Pop saw the Jimmys and hey.
Now think about how far that is.
Right, exactly.
So and guess what?
How you know I ain't come up to box 12, 13? I could have started early.
Hey, you didn't go to the store and buy it at 12 or 13. And I'm gonna tell you this.
Right.
Now the crazy thing about it is, you're right. 9 times out of 10, your sister was prepped.
Right.
This is what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Now, we have just admitted that something physically happens to us too, but nobody prepped you for that shit.
Right.
Nobody told you that shit was going to happen.
Make sure you got a condom.
No.
No, it's about the wet dream.
Nobody told you about the wet dream.
No, I'm talking about, you get prepped for it. Make sure you got a condom.
Listen.
Always keep one in your back.
And look, that's already after the fact.
That's already after the fact.
That's the only thing we get prepped for.
That's when you like Cuba Gooding and Boys in the Hood. After the fact, probably, you wear condoms. That's already after the fact.
You wear Jimmy.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. We don't get prepped.
We don't get prepped. We don't get prepped by anything that's going to happen with us, right? And so now my thing is, if we talking about how those questions that would come from the uncles and things like that,
right?
To say, hey man, you get some because that's your sign of manhood. Now we're talking about toxicity within the male sphere. That is something that's toxic for me to walk up and almost assume that that's how you're gonna prove your manhood, right? And so the thing is, and even we take it to another step, when you come from a religious household, you're told inside of the church, hey, this is not what you do.
Right.
Now you got uncle coming saying,
right,
hey, did you get some? Hold on, wait a minute. So now all these things are, because you got hormones raging.
Right.
It ain't that you don't want it.
Yeah.
Whether or not you've been able to get it or not is another thing.
Right.
But all I'm saying is,
that's why you're dreaming about it.
That's why you're dreaming about it.
Real talk. That's why you're dreaming about it, because you want it.
Now, hey man, now I'm gonna be 100 with you.
Why does my stomach always get tight?
My 100 is wrong, but I'm gonna be 100 with you, because now, you hear about, guys say, man, I jack off. I've never jacked off. I never in my life, because I'm like, what the hell is that?
Bro, you trust me, that ain't the first time I've heard that. That's not abnormal.
But you know what? You can tell, dog, you had to jack off. I said, nah, like that.
I'll be real with you. I've never found a need to. I never found. Take it for what you want. I just never found the need.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from the beginning of exploration of yourself. You never have.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because you gotta understand, my whole mindset was because everybody was lying. Like, oh, you gotta go get you something. But you gotta understand, I lost my virginity at a late age because I was like the spiritual, and I was playing ball and doing all that. Like, I had girlfriends and everything.
I lost mine early, and I'm not bragging. I'm just being real with. I lost my, and I didn't. I can. I can safely say, and you take it for what you want, but just being real. I don't remember my first time.
You know?
I do not. I kind of got an idea who was with.
Oh, you a hoe?
No.
That's no boy, you cool.
I'm
That's why they say men can't take shit serious.
Right?
Know what you say?
No, but I'm real. I'm just real.
Okay,
talk.
so why do you think you can't remember it?
No, I know because I was young, right? I can't remember.
Okay, what are we talking young? Because we gotta get.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't. I look.
Okay, so we talking 11. General age.
I don't know. I am not. Let me just say. Let me put out there. There were 2 girls, right, that I knew growing up, right.
Boy, get down. I told you, hoe.
Look, man.
I'm sorry.
Y'all gonna let me get through this.
Yeah, cool, man. I'm sorry.
There were 2 girls that I grew up with, and I remember they used to, each one of them, either one used to always ask me, like, pull your pants down. I'm just being real. They were the same. They did it. I can't believe I'm putting this out there, right? But they did, right? And I do know that there was physical activity with both of them, right? But I'm real serious. It was like it happened for I don't know, for a period of time. But I literally don't remember the first time. I just know it did, and it was one of them at a point, and then there was probably couple of years between that, and somewhere I'm going to say I know this.
Hey.
I just can't believe it. Because this is real talk. This is why I'm laughing, right? I'm laughing because me and my wife just had this conversation a couple of days ago. And she was laughing and she was like, I can't believe you. But anyway, real talk. So I just remember that my pop had a girlfriend, right? And she had she had a daughter, right? And I do know she was 14, right? But the reason why I remember that one the most, right, is because she turned around and bent over. That ain't never happened before. So that
That's what I'm saying. No, I got
so let me ask you this. Was she older than you?
That's what I said. She was 14. Yeah, she was older than me. I don't know how old I wasn't 14. I know that.
So for me,
I know that.
Let's see. Was I 17? Yeah, it was my. Now, this is what's crazy. She was like 23.
So I wanted to get to that, but go for it.
Yeah, and I remember I was like, whoa. I mean, she took me fast. I mean, and the first thing y'all was talking about your manhood, I remember I was like, damn, I'm a man now. And I associated that with being a man.
Yeah.
And she was just here. She was from Michigan. I can't even tell you her name, but she had some big ass boobs. She was fine, but
objectifying women much.
Hey, man. So, but
I told y'all this was gonna go off the rails.
But it was crazy. I had a high school girlfriend, right? So she was young. She was younger than me. But I was like, hey, my chest was out. But at that point, then I was introduced to sex, and then after that, me and her,
And the reason I wanted to touch on that is because a lot of times, most people, especially outside of the men world, most women don't understand this. Most men's sexual experiences with women that's older than them.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, as much as we protect our little girls, we don't protect our boys. Because at 17 to 23, Listen, that does not work the other way around.
Damn, she could have went to jail.
She could have went to jail for that.
Absolutely.
But see, there are
Man,
a lot
you
of
got
guys
teachers doing that now.
Yeah, but there are a lot of guys who has the conversation that has said that it was their mom's friend.
Oh yeah.
It was the aunt. It was the older cousin. It was the older sister's friend. It was somebody who had a significant age gap that said that was my first time. I want to say there was one guy, I was a comedian, they were saying the first lady was, she had a Jerry curl, so anytime he smelled that, it made him throw up.
Wow.
Because of the thing is, what we fail to realize is, hey boy, you got you some, that's trauma for a lot of boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a
particularly
man
when it's older, because you do. There's a sense I will believe. Now, like I said, the girl was 14. I was probably 12. I know I wasn't 14. I was probably 12, right?
Right.
And just let me say, contrary to what my co-hosts say, it wasn't like I started at 6 and I was rocking it every month. No, they were big patches of time.
Hey, that's what you're telling us. Hey, that's what you're telling us.
But real talk, I was saying probably particularly like in your position, right? When a woman's older, there's some vulnerability of like I'm a teenager, she's an older woman, so you do have more recourse or less recourse to say no.
Right.
You feel like with the pressure, you being a dude, right? And with the pressure, she probably, just my assumption, if you're saying no, it's like, well, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With that, you almost feel obligated to do it.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Which brings it more trauma because you really feel.
Well, my case is a little different now because you gotta understand, with your boys lying to you, man, I heard so many stories. I'm like, God dang, man, I had my boys there. It's 3 holes. You gotta hit the right one. I'm like, what the fuck, 3 holes? hey, I'm like, I was traumatized from that shit. I figured out which one to hit.
For a long time, I said.
Oh, you did the same? You had the same?
Well, third one that.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm like,
I had no idea. I was like, I said, yo, I don't know what the third
I
one
was terrified because they said, now you gotta hit the right hole. I'm like,
what you thinking? Ears ain't that big.
hey, bro, I'm like, well, what? Hey, I'm thinking it's only one of these. Now you done introduce 2 more? God damn.
Listen, I literally, early on, I literally thought that the vagina had 2 holes in it. Bro, I said 3 holes.
Look, I haven't thought that, but the third one always messed me up until later on, like college. I was like, oh,
hey, that's a nice hole.
So, bossy, I'm gonna say this: when you were telling your story, my automatic assumption was that. I wanted to ask, you said it was either out of one of those 2. Were they older than you?
One was, but it was only like a year. But she was a very aggressive girl.
Okay, but but outside of the age gap, your age in that still provided a level of trauma because trauma will provide memory loss.
Right.
And so the thing is that when you
that's what I'm blaming on. Yeah, I don't remember because I was traumatized.
No, because
I don't think so. But I'm gonna go with that.
You got to
walk down the hall with your drawers.
No, cool. Like for real, I'm real talk. Like I remember being physically intimate with both, not at the same time, but physically, I remember that. But if you ask me the first, I don't remember.
But here's the thing: your physical response is different than your mind reaction, right? Your physical response. Women who get raped sometimes have orgasm. Now you're like, well, how? Because you can't control that physical response. But the thing is that when you saying like, I don't remember at such a significant event of the first time you're having sex to say, well, dang, I don't even remember. Like Keith said, well, hey, either there's been 900 in between or something was going on then, right? And I'm gonna say that something was going on then to where your brain didn't quite lock on to that image.
Well, I was inexperienced, young, didn't know what I was doing. That could be it too.
Well, my experience was different from his experience because I had a person who took me and showed me what was going on. So it wasn't like I didn't have to guess.
Wait, hold on. You got to expound on that. What do you mean somebody took you and showed you?
Well, I mean, I didn't have to worry about which hole to get hit.
Oh, you mean she? The one? Yeah. She
was older, so it it was no pressure.
Did she
on
know?
me.
Did she know it was your first time?
Hell no. I mean,
well, then
you
it
know
was.
what? You know what? She did. She had to know because I was looking probably green as all get out, you know. But she took me, and the trauma behind that was, my first experience. I expected that from every woman.
Yeah.
So I expected I expected a more mature sexual relationship.
And that's where although that can happen when you get older, you know, whatever your first time is, because it's like a drug, you're chasing that first high.
Right.
But the thing is that you, like I said, just going back and thinking, like, even at that age, although you were like, you know what, yeah, I'm ready to do this, you know, she was old enough to be your teacher. See what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And so now, as you equated that situation, like, yo, I'm a man now, to go back to the original question, what is that thing that we have, and why don't we have it? So we know we don't have it. Why don't we have a significant conversation or event or something where there is some man that's around us, if we have that man that's around us, to be able to say, hey, it's time for you to have a more mature mindset.
On that one, you gotta understand, we internalize a lot of stuff. So you gotta understand, as a man, I'm not finna come tell my dad, hey dad, I just woke up, man, and the sheets over here.
But it's not your responsibility. You the kid. Why doesn't the dad
but you
do
gotta
that?
understand, because dad didn't have that.
Well, it's like you just said, like he would. Okay, so I would say this. Some people would be right when you were a kid. Like I could say myself, knowing me as a kid, right? Whenever that would happen, like wet dream, have it all together. With me, like I said, most like I probably thought, damn, I pissed the bed. You know what I mean? And the embarrassment, I wouldn't want to show. I try to hear, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you gonna internalize
so
that
now my father, my mother and father divorced when I was 2. All right, so but he was in my life, you know, so I would spend time with whatnot. And I can assure you, you know what I mean, if I pissed in the bed or thought I did, yeah, I wasn't saying nothing to my father, you know. So there wasn't, like, the society's vastly different today when we create, like, when we grew up, you know, our father's way of affection was punching us in the chest. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So,
Like, I'm gonna knock this mother out.
Right, exactly. You know, that was the whole, like, you know, our father's idea of love is showing us how to defend ourselves. It was those conversations, you know. Those conversations didn't come like they would right now.
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna break subject here a little bit. So as men, we're taught at an early age how to internalize a lot.
Internalize and compartmentalize.
Right, because
and I'm gonna be clear on that. We're not told to do that.
We're taught.
We're not told keep things internal directly. Indirectly, we're told men don't cry, men don't express emotion. Like I said, dad punch you in the chunk. Don't act on no punk, and that don't you flex. So in that case, like, my father could hit me, and internally it hurts. But I'm taught not to show that I'm hurting because it's a sign of weakness.
Well, when I say, and you got to look at it this way too. You got to understand, it's not a cookie cutter situation, but we're taught as men, hey, you know what? You keep that shit to yourself. You got a problem? Handle that. You don't. That's
in essence my point.
Right. We don't go huddle up and say, hey man, I had a wet dream last night. What the hell happened? Right. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna try to figure this thing out on our own. And 9 times out of 10, we're gonna trip 3 times before we get it right. You know, it's.
And I think that's why.
You know, that should go in that segment what you just said before. That what you're saying. That is true. We're told to do that, but also that's a problem, situation, or circumstance, right? And it's our natural instinct to let me fix it myself.
Right.
Before I ask for help.
Yeah,
right?
And here's the thing. Although having that mindset of I'm going to fix it myself, when I told you it wasn't your responsibility, the thing is that now in today's society, we're at a stage where we can go back and objectively look at the upbringing that we had, right? And a lot of times, you know, it's everything goes great in yesteryear, and that's not always the case. You can go back and look and say, you know what, that was good, but this probably could have been better.
Right.
Which now we can make those decisions.
Right.
And we can say, okay, well, look, why would I want my son embarrassed about something that's naturally going to happen and him not have a damn idea about what just happened to him without preparing him? Now, he might not tell me when it happened, but at least he doesn't wake up because he's 13, he ain't peed in the bed since he was 3.
Right.
And all of a sudden he has it. So now he's not saying, well, damn, did I pee in the bed last night?
Right.
Oh, this is what dad was saying. Now, I might not come to dad and say this, but
Right.
now I know. I'm going to still change out the sheets and put them back on, but I'm not confused.
I ain't gonna lie to you. For me, that would be an awkward ass conversation because the time era, I'll be like, you would have to condition. You gotta understand. You got to condition dad just as much as you got to condition his kid because that's an awkward ass conversation to come up. Hey son,
But that's-
I'm gonna let you know it's gonna be some things that's gonna happen to you.
But
But
no.
your conditioning came in your embarrassment.
Right.
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 Don't make the same mistake.
I got you. I feel what you're
Yeah.
saying, but you gotta understand. You gotta release that embarrassment. Now, could I do it now because of some things I've done a lot of self help. I can do it now, but if you had asked me this 3 years ago, I'm like, yeah, it's your rabbit ass mind because it's that's something like I ain't built for that.
Yeah, but I think, and then I got girls. You got a son, T?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so you that's fun. Like you the only one that got a son, right?
Right, yeah.
So I would have to think, and obviously it's hypothetical. If I had a boy, I would want to believe that I wouldn't be comfortable from telling my boy, hey, listen, your body's changing, that.
Yeah.
So, but that's because I agree. Like we are more in a society where we have transitioned to some degree from old school to the new school way to think. I think we are that generation that's in that mid gap before. What do you call it? Before what's is it Generation Z? Before baby boomers.
So you got baby boomers, you got Generation X, you got millennials.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think we're in that
Generation
baby boom,
X.
Generation X type of hybrid, I would say, right?
Yeah.
So I think some of that has something to do with me being, if I had a son, but my father and my friends, no, that was not, they were more like what you're saying.
Yeah,
they would be more like, handle that. We ain't talking about that.
Yeah.
At 13, 14, you should be somewhat idea what a man would be.
Yeah.
There was not a safe place. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There was not a safe place for us to do that.
Yeah. It's that exactly right. That's not a safe place. It's like that's kind of like, hey, well, and that's another thing. And I'm always jumping subject. For a man to be vulnerable like that, bro, you know what that means? That's on a whole nother level. And it's almost like I said, you put your neck out there on the guillotine. If that motherfucker, if you see the dude, ready to hit the rope, you're like, whoa, I ain't doing that again. Mm-hmm. And so that's another thing, just jumping subject. When a man is vulnerable and you step on it, you get a different man every time.
But here's the thing. If you were talking about the vulnerability of him putting himself out there, the vulnerability that I think we're talking about now is saying, yo, let me reverse what happened to me to make it better for the next, and not have the mentality of, shit, I went through it, he got to go through it too.
Well, no, and I hear what you're saying. You correct. You're very right on that. But when I say vulnerable, when you're being vulnerable, it's like, that's very uncomfortable for a man. Now, most men won't tell you.
You talking about just naturally.
Just naturally, that's an uncomfortable position. So, like, when it's almost like I always use this metaphor, is like I'm taking off all my armor, taking the clip out, everything, dropping it right there. Nah.
Okay. So just so I understand, I think I get it. What you're saying is whether you're the son who has experience,
right,
and want to come to your father, or whether you the father have the son,
right.
The instinct is that there could be potential rejection.
Right. You know how we have rejection.
So there's no what we were talking about, since there is no confidence,
right,
or awareness that there definitely is a safe space to land.
Ooh, you
we
said
are
big words.
we are more conditioned. Like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
But if I go here and I get rejected, I don't even want to play that scenario out. I just want to. I'll stay in this here because I can control this.
Yeah.
So I get that. I feel what you're saying.
There's some landmines over there.
Right, yeah.
I know right here I'm good.
Or at least I don't know if there's a landman, but there's a potential for one.
Right.
So since I don't know, I'm going to stay right here.
Right.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you where I push back on that a little bit, right?
Okay.
I understand about being vulnerable in certain situations, but there's a reckless confidence that a lot of boys into men have. That is, I know there's landmines over there. I can show you how to get through here when you can't.
Now, see, your reckless you talking about is it's not, you know what? It's almost an intentional way of saying, what's the right words for this? I'm reckless because you know what? If it blow up, I was reckless. But if I come at you on a softer note, like if I come at you, vulnerability to me as a man is that I'm coming at you soft. I'm coming, but now
I'm coming at you unarmed. That's soft, unarmed. I'm coming at you unarmed.
That's a soft point.
Okay, so here's the thing. The reason I don't think that applies to what I'm talking about is because when you are the authority in your house as a man, ain't no rejection when you go to your son. There's no, oh, he's going to reject me talking about this. Listen, these are things that I'm going to tell, because if I have that mentality there, then I have a lot of other stuff. And that's where we don't have the conversations with our sons to say, son, don't put good seed in bad soil. Don't go through and think that your manhood is how much ass you can get.
Oh no, I can have that conversation. That's an easy conversation.
I think but before you go to that, I think probably, and listen to what you're saying, you got a point, but I think it's when KY and I are talking, I think there's some synergy here in the fact that I think this is more of a nomenclature issue, because we're saying vulnerability, right? And vulnerability could be like, I don't want to be exposed, right? But I think loosely translated to what you're saying, a father may not feel like this is an exposure thing, but in the same vein, he could not want to step to his son for like, I need to talk about, I got a fear that I may embarrass him,
right?
And he don't want to come to me no more. Yeah. So in that way, that's like a vulnerability, in a sense, not a vulnerability where, it's not a vulnerability where you're putting yourself in a position to be the victim.
You may lose it.
Like, but it's more vulnerability in a situation where I don't want to push him away.
Right.
So now we're operating in a zone that means no good to nobody.
Absolutely.
We're operating in the spirit of fear. Right. Because the thing is, I promise you as a dad, if this conversation starts when he's 9, well before that happens, you can't lose him. Hey son, one day this is gonna happen. I don't know what they're talking about, but okay.
Right.
Hey, just, we're talking about birds and bees, this and that. Hey, don't know if it happened. You ain't got to say, has it happened? Don't know if it happened, but one day, don't know what dad's talking about. And then one day it happens, like, that's what the hell he was talking. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, young girls, when they have mothers who are really, really, teaching them,
right,
they start telling them this about their change early.
Absolutely.
So before,
I don't want to hear this.
Before the girl even knows, it's like, hey, this was gonna happen. And the girls are like, mom, I don't want to hear. But guess what? They start telling them about this. And so what happens is, when it happens, they're like, oh, for the ones that are really prepared. Now I've heard some of the old school generation where it was just like, oh, unflow came and it is what it is. But the newer generation women are like, hey, you know what? That was traumatic for me. I don't want that to be traumatic for them. Right? So now we've asked the question, do we have anything that we do to signify, I can't even say the word. To acknowledge.
There you go.
Use the word. To acknowledge the fact that we are transitioning. And like I said, Keith, you said we just assume around 16, right?
Right.
Okay. When we said we don't have anything that we do, the question I want to ask now is,
what is the 16 thing too?
it's like, you know,
What'd you say?
what is the 16 thing?
What's so big about 16? What happened at 16? Who came up with the number 16? She's supposed to be jumping.
No, well, no, we know.
I
mean, the reason why.
I'm with you. I'm just
The reason why I just said it because the theory is you mature around 12 or 13. So I was just saying, by the time you're 16, you should be way.
You talking about what's the sweet 16?
I'm talking about, but it's a lot behind the 16.
Oh, you talking about for girls? Because boys don't have that.
No. But you at boys at 16, you start to look at a boy differently by 16.
Oh yeah. Because you assume things are swimming there.
And wait,
right?
and women start to look at you differently by 16.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Man,
I'm talking about grown ass women.
Is that when you?
A lot of that time.
Look.
Yeah.
And so, particularly if you can score a touchdown.
So
shoot, get there.
You balling, boy.
to talk about it from the aspect of, okay, we know we don't have any type of ceremony or acknowledgement.
Yeah, we
do you think?
Yeah, we do.
What?
18, you get drunk as hell, you come up with a hangover. He said, boy, you're a man now.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. That ain't it.
Yeah.
It didn't happen to me like that, but I know a lot of dudes like, hey, son, you old enough to drink. We're going to go get you.
Yeah, really, 18 still not old enough to drink.
Right.
Well,
see, he from Memphis.
Yeah, baby. Hey, moonshine and wine, let's get it on, baby.
But do you think that our boys, because we're talking about growing stronger and better men, do you think our boys would benefit from men being able to have the conversation at some type of a time frame, 16, whatever, of saying, hey, your mindset needs to change?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Well, that's a generational curse. You talking about, I remember this conversation with my son when he was growing up. I said, hey, son, all you gotta do is read this book about stocks. I'm gonna drop you $200 to play penny stocks. Now, you gotta understand, he was in middle school. And so we had a conversation. I said, son, you know what? I was giving you free money. You know, I said, I probably would have dropped you more than 200. I said, why you do that? He said, Dad, at the time, I wasn't mature enough to receive that. So on both ends, you know, like, you can come to your son, but is he mature enough? I know what you're saying, I'm just gonna plant the seed. I planted the same seed, but it didn't hit. And I came back and had to ask that question. He said, I just wasn't ready, Dad. You was giving me stuff that I wasn't ready to receive.
You know, and here's the thing. That's every child.
Yeah.
You're always in a way you are educating your kid, training your kid. I know some people like to use the word train, but you are giving your kid to become an adult, right?
Right.
So it doesn't matter that you gave that to him early,
right?
Because guess what you did?
Because
guess what you did? He heard of the word stop before other kids did, right?
Right.
And so what happened is that's gonna come back full circle. I'm pretty sure it has already did in his life, because you said, hey, let me start teaching you about something.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that's still not a conversation of, hey, you are still technically a boy, but I need your brain, I need your mind and your mentality to start to shift into manhood. Did you have that conversation as a father of a boy, or was it kind of one of those things where a lot of stuff was implied and you just kind of took it as
I have a huge problem with that. So y'all hang on with me on this roller coaster ride, because today's society, even because it's a lot of single women, and they're raising these boys and they're telling them they were men. Because I had that put on me. My father passed away when I was in the second grade, so I was always the man of the house. Mm-hmm. No, I wasn't the man of the house.
No, you weren't.
But I had to operate in my mindset. Now, I was pushed to do what a man had to do. It wasn't like I sat on the couch and played. We didn't have PlayStation. You was doing real shit. But nowadays, you have kids playing PlayStation. Mom put their food on the table and telling them, you the man of the house. So you know what that kid grows up? He thinking a man, and that's why you got, ladies, that's why you got these men sitting on the couch playing PlayStation and not getting a job, because you got mothers who raised these men before and telling them, you know what, you the man of the house. all he's doing is playing PlayStation, waiting for somebody to cook him a meal, and with no responsibility. And that's what he's been told a man is.
Because what real men know is that you can't be a man without work.
Mm-hmm.
And when he gets the label of man of the house at 16, then you have boy that's laying up under a woman at 26.
It becomes that's our boyfriend.
But at 26, he's doing the same thing he did at 16 because he was given a title. And guess what? He still calling himself the man of the house.
Because that was mama's boyfriend.
But you got to go back to the question though.
Yeah.
As a father to a son, did you have the conversation? Was there a time where you said, I have to talk to him, not saying that you're the man of the house, because you were the man of the house. Mm-hmm. Hey, I need your mindset to shift, because contrary to popular belief, we don't raise kids. We raise adults. Mm-hmm. And if we shift our mindset to understand we're raising adults, then we don't baby them to a certain point.
Well, you gotta understand that he was a big part of my son's life. Mm-hmm. So you gotta understand, my son didn't grow up like the average kid. I wasn't talking to him like a kid. Me and Bossy, he hung out with us all the time. Mm-hmm. So he could carry on the conversation just like this as a kid with us. I remember one of my partners said, man, he's been sitting up here this whole time and he's listening and paying attention, and and he would chime in when it was okay for him to chime in. Because one thing about it is my son don't talk out of turn. Mm-hmm. So, I explained that to but Boss used my son too at a young age. He just used him up.
Man.
Yeah.
See, man,
he got more chicks with my son.
Man.
I like this some bullshit.
Boy, man.
And Fats knew how to play the role.
It was trauma. I was trauma. I was accepting.
That trauma reenacted itself.
Fats was my dude, boy.
And Fats would play the women too. He was a man before me.
Yeah.
They were like, oh my God, your son is so cute. I'm over here looking like
and his son ain't never at the house when they come over to see you. Where's son? Oh, he with his mama.
Which was true. I didn't lie.
He with his mama.
But no, for my son, I grew up. Me and him, I had real conversation with him. I didn't have baby conversation, because the deal was, when my son was conceived, if this was mine, hey, you got to take on more responsibility. And I took a different approach. I said, you know what? I'm not going to start him out acting like a baby, treat him like a baby, and then I want to switch gears to him and say, hey man, I need you to be more of a man. I grew.
What did that look like?
Real conversation. It was. I always had an open, safe place for my son. I said, regardless, I say, hey, look here, son. If you tell me the truth, or you bring something to me, we can beat this together. But I had this saying, come to me when the house is smoking. Don't come to me when it's a full blaze. Because now, not to say I can't put it out, but damn, it's hard.
You know what? I want to listen to what you talking about facts of how you raised them. Mm-hmm. There was something popped in my head, like to solidify what you said. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you remember this, right? But it literally, while you was talking, there was an event that happened with Fats, me, you, and Fats, basically. And I was like, damn, I remember that. And so what it was we used to coach Fats playing football, right? And it wasn't Keith was the head coach, I was assistant. We had some other coaches. But I can't remember what happened, but it was in a game. I can't remember exactly what happened, but Fats got mad, right?
And Fats is your son.
Yeah.
And
his name's Alonzo. We call him Fats.
Yeah, but they don't know who you are.
That's my son, Alonzo.
Y'all just keep saying Fats.
Congratulations to my son. He's going to have a baby girl to get married.
Yeah. So Fats got mad, right? And I had never been confrontational with Fats. But what I saw as a man was him disrespecting authority, right? He didn't do nothing. It was like the coach was hollering at him, but Fats was like obviously ignoring him. So I said, yo, Fats, what are you doing? Like what are you doing? Yeah. Like, listen, like I came at him like that, right? And he turned his back on me, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. Then he walked over, he says, hold on, give me a second. He grabbed Fats and he pulled him, and they were talking, and Fats was talking to him. Whatever happened, Fats put his helmet back and came back, and he said, yo, he said, you got to give my son the opportunity to say how you feel. Because that's how I talk, when I pull him aside, it's like, it ain't like, yo, listen to me. No, you got it. He said, I raised him to speak his mind. So, and I was like, okay, I got it. I got it. Because I had never had anything like, I just saw Fats, hey, you disrespecting the but he's like, no.
Yeah.
You know, say what's on your mind. Don't be disrespectful, but you have the platform to say how you feel.
And he has that thing of, okay, this is an adult. I want to say it, but if I say it, it's
no. The complete opposite. This adult doesn't know that like, you know, when a kid talks back to an adult, they can be disrespectful.
Yeah.
Right.
So you assume that whatever he has to say, he's going to be a kid.
Right.
Fats is like, yo, I know how to carry a conversation with you, and you're not allowing me to.
Right. See,
that's what it's like.
And that's how man. When he, because he was so big, me and him and my boy had been together. He watched Fats grow up. I gave him room. It's so much as parents, we want to just mash. I'm the throw. That kid has something to say. Listen
respectfully,
to what, it's not like he cussing me out. It's like, what's going on with you? Because it is something going on.
Yeah.
And as men, I was grew up on it's a slavery mentality. But take time out. What's going on with you? That's with anybody. What is going on with you? Now I can work with you. But if you just shut a person down, if you cut a person off,
shut up and listen to me, do because I said so.
Right.
Yeah.
And where is that? That's a slavery mentality.
So you were able to cultivate that in your son, and have him be probably more mature than a lot of other kids at that age.
Now it's the backside of that too. Everybody doesn't look at kids that way. So when I had to teach him, like, now, Dad, me and you have that relationship. You and Uncle Bossy have that relationship now. But everybody doesn't see, like, hey, just shut up. And he's like, hey, bro, and my son's like, this guy's wrong, though.
Well, but you know what? But I'm going to tell you something. And I'm going to tell you, and because you are a father of a boy, when you have men around you, other men don't intimidate you.
Right.
I was that kid. I mean, grandfather, father, uncles.
Okay, yeah. So you grew up
other men didn't intimidate me. So whether or not it was the head coach of the football team, whether or not it was my first supervisor who nobody couldn't stand, I used to look at him and laugh because I used to say, "Oh, everybody else scared of you, but I'm gonna show you that I'm not." Why? Because I got men behind me, which goes to the whole point as we talk about toxic masculinity and people talking about things are toxic. Our importance as a man in the role of our sons and daughters, probably more so daughters than boys, is the thing is that we give the confidence, we give that understanding of who they are, we give that supreme, hey, you know what? I have somebody that has my back, that I know that I can call and they can say, hey, because guess what? At that moment, the story you told, you were there.
Right.
And then you were there to do, because sometimes the little lion can't fight the big lion.
Right.
The big lion showed up and said, hey, y'all, we grooming this one to be a king.
Right.
This is what I taught him.
Right.
The other men respected that and said, oh, okay, cool. But you see how that communication amongst men was. It was clear and concise.
Right.
It was respected, and also the spotlight to the young man was given to say, okay, now we can communicate and start to bring you in on this level. Right? There's still a hierarchy.
Right.
But we can do it, and he had the confidence to say, hey, this is what I was taught. And that's the reason what I was saying was if the men are coming at him and he's wrestling with speak my mind versus respect, I don't really know where to jump in. That's when you stepped in and say, hey, listen, keep it respectful, but speak your mind. Hey, y'all, he gonna speak his mind and he's gonna keep it respectful. Because now, guess what? We understand amongst men I call it, there's always a low level of violence that can happen, right? So what I know is, if you come to me, I come to Bossy, Boss come to me, we know if you say something in a way, I have to say, okay. Why? Because unless I'm ready to go all the way down the hill, I'm going to hear what you got to say, right? When we operate with emotional intelligence and things like that, too many times this younger generation, and some people in the older generation, don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to process these things. So I think just hearing that story and understanding,
it comes like a lot of times confrontation comes because we're trying to establish territory and not necessarily establish a healthy conversation. Before we even get to healthy, we're trying to establish territory.
Because especially in the African American community, we lack problem solving skills, right? Amongst our men, we lack problem solving skills. And I think that's when we start talking about the toxic part of the masculinity, is the lack of problem solving skills and the lack of emotional intelligence.
But that's exactly, I think you're absolutely right, because most of us come from conditions of either inner city, where there's usually poverty, or inner city and poverty at the same time, right? And what happens is, because, as I go back to the point, whatever little we got, our mindset is to take ownership or grab territory of what we got and defend it. And that what we got could be physical or mental, right? And what we got could be, I remember the first, and it's really registered me. I remember first time I took my wife to Philly, right? I mean, it's just funny. When we go to Philly, I get to all the rules. And one of them is, don't look nobody in the face, right? I was taking her to a party, because in Philly, that's extremely offensive. Like, if we walking down the street and I'm looking at you, right? Like, and I remember when I first went to Dallas, that was the hardest thing to get used to. Because when you two dudes walking down the street here in Dallas, right, you look at each other, you make it, and you go, what's up? In Philly, you walk down, look at dude in the face, he's liable to say, what the hell are you looking at? You know? Because I'm establishing my territory, right? And you looking at me, you have violated my territory. You know, just something that popped into my mind, you know. And that's generally where you go. We will try. We like the lack of problem solving skills comes from the fact that I think is solving the problem isn't the initial or primary course of action for us. Establish the territory and being the dominant one, and getting you to acquiesce to what I feel, think, or say is paramount first. You know?
Now, it's a twofold deal on this for me. We don't listen to listen. And it goes back to what Boss said. We want to, it's a selfish motive, because I want to state my statement. I don't give a rat about what you got going on. It's about what I got going on, versus listen to listen. When I say listen to listen, you know what? You got feelings. So let me tap into what you're feeling. It's a reason you feel that way. It could be something that, it could be something that's not true, but I can't tap into that until I tap into your feelings. But for some reason, with communication, we want to tap into our own feelings. Like, you're not finna handle me like this. You got me over here feeling crazy. If I feel crazy, you finna feel crazy. Versus like, what's going on with you, bossy? Why you, what's happening? First, how about a level of concern before a level of speech? And that'll change the whole dynamics of a conversation.
And that's why, to bring this full circle, everything you just said goes back to the point I say. When you are not listening to listen, and you're listening to have the mindset of, I want you to feel what I feel.
My issue is most important.
Remember that generational curse I was saying about? Your embarrassment conditions you, and should have said, you know what? I don't want to enact that on my next generation. Your lack of being able to communicate causes conflict. Your fear of how are they going to take this causes a lot of disagreements, because we never took the time to find out if there was a possible way to agree. And all I'm saying is everything you said goes back to, I believe that we have to not be afraid to have the conversations as men to our younger boys about the things that are coming, the things that are expected, and the things that they should be looking for even before they get there. Because I do believe that a lot of times, like it or love it, and like what they say or not, I believe the women do their best to do that for their girls. And we just say, yo, boy, go on out there and make it happen.
You think so?
I think so. I think so. I really believe that there are not things put in place. I'm talking about dads in the house. There are not things put in place where we say, hey, listen, we're gonna take a trip. Me and you, just me and the son, we're gonna take a trip and we're gonna have some real sit down, serious conversations. I don't think we have that. I think women do a lot better job at that. I don't think we have that thing where we create those timestamps where we're like, hey, when girls celebrate their 16th, you know, that's them a couple years away from being adulthood. We don't have a celebration of 16, 14. We don't have a celebration of nothing. We're just told, hey, you just keep going. You don't celebrate anything. There is nothing that we're going to say that you are at this level now and this is the next level. We just say, look, 18, you can buy cigarettes, 21, you can buy alcohol, and after that, son, you on your own.
You know, it's crazy. I was just sitting there brainstorming. I was like, what was it that made, you know, when my mom was like, okay, what made me think that I was the man of the house? You know what? It was funny. Did you take the garbage out? Did you secure the house? I thought securing the house was a serious deal, man. Checking the locks. I just thought, I say, man, I handle that shit.
I lock the doors.
I
put the chain on.
I handle that shit. Hey, everybody's safe now.
Yeah.
Hey, now if a rock had came through the window, I wouldn't know what. I wouldn't know what to do.
Yo, listen, let me tell you guys something. I think as we are consistently talking about how to continue to be better as men and how to make it better for the next generation, make sure you have those conversations with that next generation. Make sure you patch up. If you don't have a son, find a young man. I heard a young man tell me this at an event I was at. He said, listen, you guys are always talking about what the young kids are doing. You're always talking about how you want to be better, and we all get together as successful men and have these conversations. But he said, when's the last time you gave your phone number to a young man and said, hey, call me if you need me?
Can I share a quick story before
we
get
but
off?
that was a cold ass closeout, but go for it, man.
Hey, no. Because you hit me with something that just happened. I was up in Chicago. I was speaking at a school, and it was two young men there. And I was watching them, and they were interacting, and man, they were really working well together. And the other kid was trying to help the other. They were taking notes as I was talking, and I guess he was trying to help him spell the words and tell him what was going on. And I saw the teacher; she was finna rip off into these, thought they was talking while I was talking, and I diverted the situation to get them off of them. And then at the same time, before it was over, I told her, "Do you have anything that you give kids when they do something good, or is something I can do?" Because I saw two, and Jamaican way, I saw two young bulls working together, and that was really dynamic with me. And as men, I saw in a classroom setting, instead of that teacher paying attention and seeing what they were doing dynamically great together, she was on to just put them in a cookie cutter like they were being disrupted.
Was the teacher a female?
Yes, they was.
So see how important that man viewpoint is.
Yeah.
You saw something that you knew was going to be beneficial for them going forward,
right? And
you could recognize it,
right?
Because if you were the teacher and you thought that they were being disrespectful, even watching them doing it, you'd have said, "Hey, listen, I know y'all did a good job, this and that, but we want to give the speaker a little bit." You would have broke it down to say, right, "I'm gonna let you know what you're doing is good because I saw y'all working together."
Right.
But there would have been a way that you put that.
Right.
She was about to go over there and say,
she's about to go ham. Yeah, she's about to go ham on
yeah. And so now it's like, well,
and that
they would have deterred them from.
Right.
Yeah.
And
all I got of that story, he just wanted, get accolades because he quelled the situation from a mentorship standpoint, and the teacher didn't know what she was doing. Just say that.
Hey, man, wait. And he threw in, I was in Chicago.
Right.
No, he ain't from Chicago, so he want to let us know. I was speaking at schools across the country.
Yeah, that's
my
all
family
right.
from the west side of Chicago. Be easy on that.
Hey, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share to this episode of Toxic is the New Masculinity. We will see you guys on another episode, so you guys stay tuned. Follow us on YouTube. Share it out, man. We really, really appreciate that. See you guys next time.
Good love.